Deconverted Man here, and I wanted to talk about a video that I recently had flagged by zuzekss, if that's how you pronounce this name, animation. So I found his video, and he has two fetuses talking to each other, and it's an argument from analogy and to analogy that tries to prove the afterlife and prove God simultaneously. And I point out the two logical fallacies in that video, which is an argument to a false analogy because the analogy of the womb is not the same as the universe, and the potential straw man that the skeptical fetus is of the skeptic, where you don't really have scientific evidence or scientific instruments that you're giving the fetus that's being a skeptic. So it's not really a true skeptic. But that whole video, I'm going to show you my video in a moment. Just want to take a little bit of time. No, I don't care that it was flagged. Was it false? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. It's all about feelings and emotion. And I just don't care about those things. All I care about is logic and reason. If zuzekss, however you want to say his name, wants to respond with a logically coherent argumentation, he is free to do so. His argument will still be received with logic and reason. I am not currently offended that he flagged my video, and I would not be offended if he used my material. He's free to. And by the way, anyone is free to use anything of mine that they want. It doesn't matter to me. Go ahead. Even if you use it out of sequence so you make it sound like I'm an idiot, go ahead. Whatever. It's just going to be something that's amusing to me. So it doesn't bother me. Go ahead. Feel free. This has happened to other YouTubers. They've been flagged. It's a whole thing. YouTube takes the side of caution on these matters. It's really not worth fighting over. I just have redone the video with my own drawings, and I'm even going to use my voice, and then I'm going to, in the description, I'm going to put the time index that I'm referencing so that you know where on his original video to look at for the things I'm discussing about. And ultimately, he may reject my video as a video response. He might even block me from his channel. All of that's fine. It's just, now someone might say, okay, does any of that mean that he doesn't have an argument? No, it's irrelevant. However he behaves, however he acts is not relevant to the arguments he offers. And you might say, Deconverted Man, you're arguing in favor of this guy? Yes, I am. His arguments, because of logic and how it works, are independent of his behavior or if he has done something that is right or wrong, technically right or technically wrong, legal or illegal. It just doesn't matter. However we feel about him is irrelevant to his argumentations. All that matters is, are his arguments logically coherent or not? And this is something that is really, really important. If a person or a group does something right or wrong, that doesn't mean that their claims are right or wrong. Their claims must be examined independently of the behaviors of the individual or the group. And it must be examined independently of the consequences of that examination. So, for example, you can be against the Catholic Church because of all the things that they have allowed to happen, but that's irrelevant when it comes to whatever arguments they might have. They might have arguments for why they have protected priests rather than letting them go to the police that are logically coherent. I doubt it, but they might. So we have to be willing to examine whatever arguments there are, even though we are repulsed by either the people or the organization giving those arguments, even if we are upset that the argument is being used to support something that we don't like. Logic says emotion must be removed from the scene, and we must use objective standards to decide if something is coherent or not. And that is so important. So, anyways, with all that in mind, here's my video. I've run out of atheist quotes. Help. The Converted Man here, and today I'm going to be addressing the subject of argumentation to and from analogy. Now, an argument from or to analogy isn't necessarily logically invalid or logically incoherent, as long as that analogy is true to the case that you're presenting. So an analogy is simply a story that illustrates a more complex point. So the theist might say, if you're walking on a beach and you found a watch and you've never seen a watch, wouldn't you conclude with all the complexities that you see in it that there's a watchmaker? And the skeptic might say that, well, pretend I have an invisible dragon that if you don't believe in my invisible dragon, he's going to eat you in your sleep and you have to do everything I tell you to do, or my invisible dragon's going to eat you. Do you believe in that? If you don't, remember he's going to eat you in your sleep, and that's the parallel to God. So, analogies can be flawed if they're not really addressing the thing that they're trying to be an analogy to. And when that happens, we have the logical fallacy of argumentation to erroneous analogy or false analogy. So this video addresses things, reality, in an analogous way by using two fetuses talking to each other. Let's listen to it, shall we? Hey, brother. Yes? Do you believe in life after birth? Of course no. You really think life ends after birth? We live here and now only once. I disagree with you. I believe one day we will meet our mother. Our mother? Well then where is she? I don't see her. Where is she? Show me this mother. D. Well, as cute as the fetuses are, and as well made as the animation is, and as clever as the voice acting is, I am deeply sorry, but you've committed two logical fallacies here. One is a straw man, and the second is a false analogy. Your analogy does not compare with reality. I'm very sorry. It got close, but it didn't quite hit it. Now, what's the straw man? Well, the skeptical baby on the left is a straw man because he does not have access to scientific equipment. He cannot examine the universe around him. Now, we have access to scientific equipment, and we can examine the universe around us. So if we were inside the womb here, and we had that scientific equipment, we would figure out that it was Mother, and we would learn an awful lot about Mother. We would learn quite a great detail about her, and in fact, we could even use our scientific equipment to probe outside the mother and find out even more information. But you didn't give them that equipment. So the baby on the left is being actually unreasonably skeptical. He is taking essentially the strong atheist position, if we're to stay within the metaphor here, and saying, no, there can't be a mother, there is no mother. And mother is supposed to be God, I suppose. And really, he should be saying, I doubt that there's a mother. He would be wrong in the scenario of the that you're giving us, but still, that skeptical stance would be correct given the limited information that the baby on the left has. Now, the baby on the right is correct, but the baby is wrong in their methodology of how to deduce reality. They are basing it on feeling and intuition. They feel like Mother has talked to them. They sense that Mother is all around them. This is not how to decide what is true or not. He happens to be right by chance, but being right on accident simply isn't good enough for me as a skeptic. I want to know that I'm right. So if you give me the tools of science, then I can tell you about the womb or I can tell you about the universe. But the problem here is the final real big problem, and that is that the outside of the mother is knowable by science. The outside of the universe, if there is such a thing, is currently not known by science. We do not know if there is anything more than what we observe.
Unless or until we have a logically coherent argument from you, we must continue to be skeptical of your claims.